Okay, so welcome back to another Blender tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you guys step by step in a very simple way how to make a hoodie for a character in Blender. Now this one here you can download for free in the description below on my Gumroad page. You can just type in 0. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second, but it's pretty much there for free and it comes with this example here. So if you guys get stuck, you can actually just open it up and see how I did it. We're going to be, I'll quickly show you. The one we'll be making today is actually this one here, but it's just the exact same thing that comes with the example blend file. I've only just added some more materials and just added a few more segments, but it's really the same thing. So if you want to learn how to do a hoodie in Blender, definitely download the free file below and follow along. It's going to be a ton of fun. These videos have been really popular on my channel in the past, so I hope you guys learned something. Okay, so you're going to use the link in the description below, and I've provided this free character on my Gumroad page. Now you can actually come here to the price amount, and yes, you can just put 0 in there. I've made it so you can do that. If you choose to add an amount as a donation, that's up to you, but by all means just put in 0 and say I want this, and you can get it for free. And then once you've downloaded that zip folder and extracted it, you're going to open up the blend file, and this is what you're going to see. Now what you're going to do here is I've actually provided the example hoodie in here, and it's already baked, so it's cached in, as you can see here by the blue line. But you can just come here and unhide that hoodie layer, and now we just have this character here. And this is actually one, like I said previously, one of my older characters from Blend Swap that I've just kind of made more simple, just for the purposes of simulating kind of like on a mannequin, right? So this is not supposed to be a fancy animation. We just want something that can fall down. So I did a very primitive rig and animation here. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna step by step try and build this thing over here. I'm gonna show you some of the processes. And if you get stuck, you have a free example here that you can download and you can check it out to see how it all comes together, and you can use it as well if you want. So let's get started. So if you're following along with the blend file that I've provided, make sure you are on frame 1 where the T-pose is at its start. And what we're going to do in our object mode is we're going to go Shift A, we're going to add in a plane, and with this plane active, we're going to tab into edit mode. In fact, before we tab into edit mode, let's just stay in object mode and let's just drag that up till it's kind of in the middle of the body here. We just want that origin point to be more or less in the center here where the abdomen is, not at the very bottom. We're then going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to go RX90 with this topology active just to rotate it 90 degrees on the X, and we're going to go G, Y, and we're going to move it forward. And what we're going to do for now, we're going to enable the X mirror just for now. So if we make any changes on one side, it mirrors on the other side. I'm going to bring this vertex down here and bring this vertex back down to here for now. And let's just enable our X-ray so we can see. And that is quite disturbing. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to grab this top vertex here and just bring it out just a little bit. We don't want this to be too close to the body because it has to have some space to wrap around. So giving it a few inches, so to speak, because this isn't, I mean, I don't know what distance this is here at the moment, but you know, if this was a real person, you'd need a few inches here. So let's take it about out to here. Then select all of this and go E to extrude, Z to bring it up on a Z, and then grab this vertex here, and then just add a little bit, just a little bit of a slant there, like that. We're then going to come to the bottom here, select this one, and just drag it out just a little bit and a little bit more down. And now when we have this roughly in place, we're going to go Control R to add in a cut in the middle, like that, or just an extra segment. And I've left clicked twice. And we're going to select this vertex at the top. We're going to go G, Z, and just bring it down, just to make a bit of a neck delta here, just like a V. I'm going to grab this vertex here and just bring that down into Z a little bit. Then we're going to come in here, go Control R, and we're going to roll our middle mouse button. Let's just add 3 segments, left click twice, and then come in here, Control R, left click once, Control R, left click once. And with these look like rough squares. We don't want any like long rectangles like this. We want nice little squares, more or less. And then we can go A to select everything. We can right click and go subdivide. Now you can see here I have my normals enabled. That's quite important. So if you go over to your display, you can go down and just make sure that the display normals are active, because we want to see the direction of the normals. In this case, the normals are pointing outwards, which is exactly what we want for our cloth simulation. So you can see things are a little bit messed up here now. So what we're going to do, we're going to select these 3 over here, and we're going to go R to rotate them, and we're going to go G to move them up a little bit, and then going to grab this one and bring that up just like that. And we can grab this one here, just bring it up a little bit more so it's not as stretched. And at the moment we're keeping everything really low poly. We don't want to go too high at the moment. What we're going to do now is we're going to press A to select everything again. We're going to right click and go subdivide one more time. Now we have a lot more topology. We're going to go into our right view, and with all of this active, we're just going to move it closer to the character, but not so it's intersecting the mesh. So just something like that. And at this point we can actually get rid of the X mirror. Let's select half of this topology, press X and go delete. And let's just go to our modifiers. Let's give this a mirror modifier. Make sure to enable clipping so it stays together. We can now go E to extrude, and we're going to extrude it out to the back like so. And we want it about here, so we don't want it intersecting, just about here like that. And you can see that the normals are now facing in, which we don't want. We want them facing out. So what we can do, we can go Control N, and we can go recalculate outside. And now it's the normals are pointing the right way. Okay, that's very important that we keep that in mind. Now to help us a little bit, we're going to do a bit of color coding. So we're going to tab back out. We're going to go to Materials tab, we're going to go New. And under the viewport, let's just make this any color. I'm going to go with blue. This is just so we can visualize. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to go New. I'm going to tab into Edit mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with nothing selected, I'm going to go Shift Alt and left click on this corner. It's going to select all of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it that material there. And this is going to be the areas that are going to seam together. We can also just select these bottom faces here and go X and delete those faces. And also here where the neck opening is, we can select these 4 here and we can go X and delete those faces. These bits here, those are all going to be strung together later. With the exception of these ones here, you can actually select these 4 over here and go X and delete faces like that. Okay, so you can see where we're going with this. Looking pretty cool. And what we can do as well is, actually let's first of all just worry about this section up here. So we want to do things a little bit different up here. We're going to come in here and we're going to go Control R, and we're going to roll our middle mouse button about, let's go about this many times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments, and then let's just left click twice. And what we're going to do is we're just going to select these faces here and give them the blue material, just to help us know not to delete those later on. And these ones here as well. And what we're going to do is we're just going to select these 2 in the middle, and we're going to go X, and we're going to go dissolve edges. So just like that. Okay, we need this little bit extra here because we're going to have a sleeve that is going to come along here. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to select this edge here and this edge over here. We're going to enable proportional editing, and we're going to go S, Y, and we're just going to scale it, and we're going to roll that middle mouse button to create a little bit more influence, like so. Just in a little bit, and we're going to go G, and then Z, and just drag that down a little bit. G, Z, just like that. And now it's a little bit more rounded. Okay, and then we're going to select this edge and this edge, S, Y, and just bring them a little bit closer as well while we're rolling the middle mouse button. Just bringing those edges a little bit closer together. Like so, trying to maintain the kind of squares over here. And now what we can do, remember this white stuff here is going to be deleted later because that's where we're going to have everything kind of sewing together. What we're going to do now is we're going to, holding in shift, we're going to start at about here. Don't go to the bottom one, but the top one here. And we're going to hold in shift, and we're just going to go all the way around, just like this, selecting it, till we get over here on the other side, and we leave one over there. And in our front view, we're going to go E to extrude, like so. And then SX0 to flatten it out. And then we're going to go E to extrude and X, and we're going to go out about this much. Then we're going to go Shift R, and we're going to keep pressing that to repeat that action all the way past the hand like that, almost to the end of the fingers. And what we're going to do now is we're going to actually select these top faces here all the way up to this section, to the last few sections of the sleeve here. And we're going to give it that blue material. And then we're going to select these ones here, Shift Alt, click on this edge to select these ones to connect it. And let's give it that white material. So remember, this is going to be where it sews together. We're going to dissolve these faces away, only leaving the edges. And what we're going to do as well is we're going to go get our edge select, Shift Alt, Shift, click on this edge here, and then Shift Alt, left click on this edge here, and it's going to select all of that. And then do the exact same thing at the back here. So the both selected like that. So this edge here and this edge at the back. And they have the equal number of edges. So we can go Control E and we can go Bridge Edge Loops. And let's give them that same white material because they have to be dissolved later on as well. But already we are making quite a lot of progress. So we really have pretty much now the jacket part done. But what we're going to do next is we're going to model the hoodie around the head. And that's a little bit more tricky, but we'll try and make everything match up as much as possible. So make sure to save as you're going. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have our edge select. And what we're going to do is let's select all of these edges here. In fact, let's go Shift Alt and then left click, and it's just going to loop select along all of these edges here, right, like that. And we're going to go E to extrude and Z and extrude it up onto Z like so. Then we're going to go Control plus to grow the selection once, and let's give it that white material. And once again, the materials are simply just to help us keep track of things. And let's just bring this edge down here a little bit. And the same with this edge here, just to make it a little bit more rounded. And let's just select these two edges here because it's a little bit square. And let's just drag them down just a little bit like that. Now we have that rounded out. We're going to go Shift Alt, left click again on this edge to select it. And in our right orthographic view, we're going to go E to extrude and Z and extrude up on the Z. And then we're going to go S, Z and flatten it quite a bit, but not all the way, just like that. And then we're going to go Control plus and we're going to give it that blue material because this is not something we want to get rid of. We're then also going to come and then select these two edges here, or these three edges, and we're going to go double G and slide them up. And then R to rotate it, just to flatten them out a little bit. Then we're going to come in here and go Control R and add in another edge. And we're also going to select this edge here and we're going to go double G just to slide it. And this one here, double G, just slide it. Just to even out the spacing here a little bit more. And the same with this edge here, double G. You can do this very easily. Just anywhere where there is an edge where there's too much of a, it's too stretched. You just want to square this all out just a little bit more. Okay, it's very simple, just selecting the edges and then double G to slide them. We're now going to go and select this edge here. In fact, select all the edges, Shift Alt, left click to select all of these edges, and then just deselect these three towards the front. And then what we're going to do in our right orthographic view is we're going to go E to extrude, and we're going to take it up till it's about a square, and then we're going to go SZ, flatten it a little bit more, and then E to extrude Z, and extrude up into Z, about this much. And then once you've done it, you can go Shift R, and you can just repeat that action till it's at the top, past the head. Like so, about 2 inches so if it was up to scale. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into our back orthographic. So Control 1 on the number pad there, and we're going to just select all of these faces at the back that we can see here, except the white ones. So just these ones here, but at the side here we don't want to select those. So just these ones here. We're going to enable proportional editing. We're going to go S, Y, and we're going to flatten it a little bit on the Y while we roll our proportional editing just a little bit. Then we're going to go G, Y, and we're going to just take all of that back like this. And then grab just some faces at the top here, just about 2 faces. And then go G, Y, and just pull it out on the Y a little bit like that. Just so it goes behind the head. In this case, it's a stylized character, so the head's quite big. But on a normal character, we wouldn't have to push it this far. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select this face down here on the corner, and holding in Shift, we're going to Shift and Control after selecting that one. We're going to click on this one, and it's going to just select the whole column, and let's give it that white material because that has to be dissolved as well. And you can see here we have a normal issue. So some of these normals here, so I'm going to press A to select everything, and then Alt N, I'm going to go recalculate outside, and that's fixed the normal issue, thankfully. If you ever just see those issues, just make sure to keep on top of that. And now we have to do a section here at the top. So let's go to our edge select, and let's select this edge here. We'll go E to extrude and then X, and extrude on the X till it kind of clips together here. And then select this edge, and this edge, just all the way to here, but not to the very back edge on the corner. And then go E to extrude and X and let them meet together. And then just select these 2 edges and then F to fill them. So then count the edges at the back here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So that's going to be 3 points where they divide here. So let's go over here, Control R, and let's roll it 2 times to add in 3 sections. Double click by left clicking, and then you can select one edge and another adjacent edge, and then go F to fill. And I'm just going to quickly go and do these ones here, just like that. And then just fill this square here. And make sure that one has the blue material. So now we have that. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave these together here. But what we're going to do as well is we're just going to select these faces here all the way to here. And let's give them that white material because they have to be dissolved later on as well. But you can see where we're getting with this so far. So I think we're almost pretty much ready to start dissolving some of these bits away. Well, let's just also come in here. Let's just select this edge here and holding and shift select this edge here and then go F to fill it and make sure it has that white material. And we've mucked up some of the normals here. I thought we did. Okay, so the normal's okay. But if the normals aren't, make sure just to correct them. So and let's just also fill these 2 edges in here like that, and make sure it has that same white material. So everything is pretty much ready to start deleting some of these or dissolving some of these faces where the white parts are and just running the simulation. So let's see how that works. So whenever we are working with simulations, before we go and do a lot of destructive things with this by dissolving some of these edges, let's just in object mode just duplicate, going Shift D and then right click until it let go. Let's just duplicate this and then press M. Create a new collection. Let's just call this spare, just in case, and then go OK. And now we can hide that and also turn it off for the render. So now we just have a backup in case we mess something up. It's always a good way to work like that. We're now going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to go to our face select, and we're going to just select all of these ones all the way up to here that are white, and we're going to go X, and we're going to go only faces. It's very important that you go only faces because you want to leave these edges behind. That's actually really important. We're just also going to select these ones here, and then holding and shift still select these ones here, all of the white bits, and then these ones here as well. So just selecting them, all the white faces, and then once you have them, go X and then dissolve only faces. Then tab out, right click, and then go shade smooth. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we select our character. Now thankfully this character, if you go to your physics, I've already given it a collision. So if you're working with your own character, make sure to give it a collision under the physics. With the actual mesh itself that we're going to simulate, under our physics tab, we want to go and give it a cloth. And for now, there are a few basic things we want to do. So number one is you want to scroll down to the shape. You want to make sure you enable sewing. That's very important. And we're going to go here to the max sewing strength. Let's make that 12. Okay, that's what I like to work with. For this, it kind of worked really well, but you can mess around with that in a little bit. And then the shrinking factor, we're going to make that 0.1. And then we're going to come here to self collision. And self collision essentially just is going to tell this cloth to not only interact with the character surface, but also the cloth itself. It's going to interact with itself. And the distance here is a little bit big. So what we're going to do, so we want these gaps to close properly. We're going to take this distance here. We're going to make it 0.001. I've just found that that works a lot better. So 0.001. Otherwise, it's going to kind of be these big open gaps under the arms. So make sure to save, and let's go to frame 1. And now if we hit the space bar, you should see your hoodie simulating. How cool is that? And just kind of right out of the box, this almost looks pretty good. So if you've been able to get to this part, you're doing pretty well. And once again, I have included my previous example with the free file you can download. So you can see this is the exact same method for making this hoodie here. But if you get stuck, you can check that out. So now that we have that roughly in place, we're going to go now and go to our modifiers. And let's just minimize these. And let's also now go and give this a solidify and also a subdivision surface modifier. And you can actually put the subdivision surface modifier above the solidify. And you can see now, if you go to frame 1, it's looking a lot better, but the quality here is a little bit lacking in some places. So for now, let's just turn off the real-time view for the solidify and the subdivision, just so we can continue working on our cloth settings. So let's go down and under the object collisions, let's also make the distance 0.002 this time. And let's take the quality and let's bump it up to 5. And under the, at the very top as well, we're going to go to the quality steps for the cloth. That's the overall quality, and let's make that 12. Make sure to save and then go to frame 1 and then press the spacebar and then watch the simulation run. And you can see now that is looking a lot nicer. But yeah, this is pretty simple. So I'm going to quickly show you something. What you can do at any point, you can actually tab into edit mode and you can actually select different parts of your mesh. So in this case, it seems a little bit too back. So I'm going to select some of these faces at the front here. And in the right orthographic view, I'm just going to, with proportional editing, just drag them forward a little bit like that. And then go to frame 1, hit the spacebar, and that looks a lot better. So you can come in here at any time and you can definitely mess around with the way your character's clothing looks. And then you can just go into object mode, go to frame 1 and run the simulations. I might bring this in a little bit tighter. Go back in. Every time you make edits, it changes things. So you have to go to frame 1 again and rerun the simulation. But you guys kind of get the idea here. It's a ton of fun doing these sort of simulations. But one thing I'll quickly show you as well, what you can do is, so for example, here we've only got 100 frames. So if you go to under the cloth settings, you get to the cache. Let's just make the 100. So essentially it's just going to cache all this in. So from frame 1 to frame 100 in this case, if you now click bake, it'll bake in the cache to the blend file. Now keep in mind, this can make your blend file quite large. But once you've baked it in, you can kind of play it better in real time. You can add different modifiers on it, kind of see how it reacts. But I'll be back when this is done baking in and we'll see what it looks like. And here we go. It's now baked into the blend file. And you can see this is what it looks like. Now you can see here, it's intersected with itself a little bit here. So I can always just delete the bake and fix that. But I'm just going to quickly turn on the subdiv and the solidify. And you can see, you know, overall it looks pretty good now. But if anything is messed up, like it is in this case, just delete the bake, go back into edit mode, and you can change things up a little bit. So in this case, I might bring this out a little bit. Go to frame 1, just see if that fixes that issue. So yeah, you can see when little issues like that come up, it's very easy just to go into edit mode and just solve them by pulling things around. So I'm going to just quickly rebake this and we'll see what that looks like. And there we have it. It's done baking. And yeah, I hope you guys have found this tutorial useful. Now keep in mind, this is only, I'll quickly show you something. I'm going to quickly hide this one here. I'll quickly hide it and just bring back the hoodie that came with the blend file, my original. This one here is the exact same thing that I just showed you guys. The only thing is I applied the mirror modifier and then I also deleted some of these ones or dissolved some of these edges in the middle so it comes together. And then I just added these extra little attachments, exact same principle, just dissolving the edges in between and then having it all fused. And I just gave those a different color, but this really is the exact same technique. And I've been working on this a lot, trying to come up with a way of making a hoodie. I couldn't really find any tutorials a few years ago when I was trying to make a hoodie, and I kind of had to try over and over. I tried hundreds of times with different ideas, and this kind of worked the best. So I really hope you guys have found this fun. If you want to see this exact same blend file, once again, it is free in the description below on Gumroad. All you have to do is put in $0. If you want to make a donation, you can, but other than that, just get it for free. So I'll see you guys next time for another tutorial.